This is Basketball Talk 77, and today's video is my playoff predictions, Lakers Heat. We have reached the final video in this series. I've done a lot of videos for the playoff predictions of 2020, but this is the final one, and soon you may be seeing how I do points-wise. I'm definitely excited for the finals. I'm definitely excited to see the end of this series because I want to make new content for you guys. Content I haven't made in a while since I've been busy doing the finals. As usual lately, this video will have one matchup, Lakers Heat, and we will cover every aspect we can to try to pinpoint correctly the most important matchup of this series. And I may even talk a little about the ramifications of these finals. Just as a bonus for, it being the finals. I might as well give it a little bit of importance. So anyway, let's start off with my first and final prediction of this playoffs, Lakers Heat. So, I believe that the Lakers will win this series in 7 games. Now, the reason I think this, I only made this decision very recently. Because if you go back to earlier when both teams were up 3-1, or even when both teams were up 2-1, it was looking like it was going to be the Heat, and that's what I thought it was going to be. The Heat were looking unbeatable. It looked like every time it was late game, they seemed to come out on top. It seemed like nobody could beat them. And the Lakers, they were one game winner away from being down 2-1. And none of their stuff looked to be that dominant. And people were worried about the Lakers. Would the Nuggets, the team that nobody thought would make it there, win it in the end? But then the next few games changed my mind. First of all, there's Game 4 where the Lakers went up 3-1, and it was crazy. I thought it was super ironic and funny because the Lakers had complete confidence, and then when the Nuggets, when it was 2-1, everybody thought the Lakers were going to fail, and then the game after, they won one more game, and it was the Lakers and Stone and Tino. But the Lakers won Game 4, and the Heat also won their Game 4. But then, the Lakers just won their Game 5, and I watched the end of that Game 5. And, of course, I was cheering for the Nuggets. But what I saw from LeBron James was one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen. It was like every shot he shot went in. He took control of the game. Every time the Nuggets managed to score on one end, he would come right back down the other end and score. And it wasn't just like layups, it was threes, it was everything. He just looked dominant. He looked like prime LeBron James. And meanwhile, Game 5 for the Heat saw them fall apart and lose to the Celtics. And of course, they won in Game 6, but they didn't look dominant in Game 6. They scrapped out that victory. And I mean, for the rest of it, they've looked really dominant. They were dominant against the Pacers, dominant against the Bucks, but they didn't seem so dominant against the Celtics. I mean, in the last 4 games, it was 2-2. The Heat were not a surefire victory. LeBron James won the last 2 games. Yes, if the Anthony Davis didn't hit that game winner, then it will have probably been them in 6, but he just showed dominance. He showed he wanted it more than everybody else. And so, that makes me think that even if teams, they're relatively even teams if you look at them on paper. Both of them have gone 12-3, but no team has won more than 1 game against the Lakers this entire playoff run. That's crazy. The last time, let's see, last champions, Toronto Raptors had the Sixers win 3 against them, Bucks win 2. The The Warriors had the Rockets win 3 against them. The 2017 Warriors were dominant. The 2016 Cavs had the Warriors in the finals win 3 against them. And 2018 the Rockets beat the Warriors 3 times. So it was this is a dominant playoff run. Meanwhile, the Celtics have done a number on the Heat, in my opinion. And by the time the Celtics figured out the Heat's way of playing, it was pretty even after that. And the teams are pretty even. Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis will cancel out. Anthony Davis is a little bit better. You got Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and all the other young guys and shooters and the Heat. But then again, LeBron James will be able to defend Jimmy Butler and do a little bit more than Jimmy Butler can defend. So maybe it'll balance off. But what I've seen in NBA history is usually when teams are relatively even, it's who wants it the most and who's going to be the most dominant that ends up winning. And that is LeBron James. I thought it was going to be Jimmy Butler. I thought it was going to be an amazing upset. But no. From what I've seen, it seems like it's going to be the Lakers just because of LeBron James. Sometimes all the other pieces, everybody else falls away. And all it is the star and how they control the game. It's those moments that define someone's career. And I think this will be a defining moment for LeBron James. It's going to be no easy victory. The Heat are a very formidable team. But I think they're going to win in 7 because in the end, despite what everybody says, LeBron James is a winner. And he seems to really want this victory. He wants to go down with 4 championships or more and not 3. He wants to be the first person to win a Finals MVP with 3 different franchises. So now we get into the portion of the video where I'll talk about the ramifications of these finals. Now first is who I think it's going to be, but I'll do the Heat as well. If the Lakers win, this is huge for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. First of all, LeBron James, he's now going to have 4 Finals MVPs, probably, unless Anthony Davis goes to Dirk in the Finals. He's going to have 4 Finals MVPs, second most, and it's really going to confirm his place, probably, as, at least in most people's eyes, as the second best player ever. Now, people are going to get caught up in the hype and say LeBron James is the best player ever. I still don't think this is true. I still think it's Jordan. He still will have more Finals MVPs, more MVPs, and average more points. But my GOAT statistics are a video for another day. But he will definitely be in the conversation, and I think lots of people say he's the second best, but right now I'd say he's probably behind either Kareem or Duncan. But if he has success here, he will lock up that second place. I think that'll be big for him. And as for Anthony Davis, it'll be big for him too, because the farthest Anthony Davis has gone before this is the second round. So for him to play well, hopefully, and win a championship is going to be a huge piece in his career. And maybe he'll pull a Kawhi and leave anyway, but I don't think he will. I think he will stay in LA, and we could see a good portion of Anthony Davis' prime being spent in LA because of this victory. And we're going to think a lot more about Anthony Davis as an MVP candidate from here on out. Right, he's only 26, 27, so he's just reached his prime. And I think that his opportunity to become a star has only been monopolized by the fact that he now has so much playoff experience and has a good leader like LeBron James. And if the Heat win, this is one big for Jimmy Butler. It's going to prove that he can win, and that he is a star, despite the statistics, and that he isn't someone that is just too volatile for someone to be on it. For someone to be on a team. As for Tyler Hero, this is going to be huge. All the young players. This is going to be huge. it might be the Fred VanVleet effect, where they might have their value way inflated by this victory. And I think for Bam Adebayo, it will confirm that extension. And everybody thought the Heat were going to be contenders in a few years, but Jimmy Butler still has a few good years left in his prime. Bam Adebayo's got his whole career ahead of him, so do all the young guys. They got plenty of good role players, a great coach, a great GM, a great culture, and they have enough money to sign another guy. Honestly, this Heat team, the Lakers, I think, have kind of reached their peak. LeBron James, I'm sorry to say, isn't getting any better, and Anthony Davis can get better. He can't become an MVP candidate, but with not as many other young players on the team, their growth isn't as powerful. But you could see a team of an improved Tyler Hero, improved Duncan Robinson, improved all the young players, still great role players as supporting. Bam Adebayo coming out as a true star. Jimmy Butler still leading the team with his great defense and a leader. And you could even add someone like Giannis Antetokounmpo or another big free agent that they could sign in the offseason so they're even better. I mean, this team has potential to be amazing in the future. And they've got so many young guys. Could this team be a future champion? Even if they don't win this year, could this team be a dynasty in the future? Maybe we'll examine that in a future video. But for now, that's the end of it. I'm excited because even though I've enjoyed making these playoff predictions videos, it was time for it to end. And I'm happy that I'm able to branch out and bring new content to you guys. This is content you haven't seen in a while. I've got lots and lots of ideas, and I hope to post them all on our short off season. And I hope you enjoyed this video and this series. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you want to see more of this, or just new content, fun content, subscribe to the channel. For now, this is all I have to say, but I'll see you soon. So, like, subscribe,